Scripture passage says this: write the vision and make it plain, so them that read it, they can read it and run with it. Once you write the vision, when you put it out there, when you lead, somebody else will come and see what you're leading and what you're doing, what you're putting together, the vision that you're establishing, and they'll take that vision and their gift will cause them to run with that vision.
Let's go. Let's grow.
What's going on? I'm Carlos V. Spencer here with another piece of content, another video, another information. If you're listening in, another podcast, thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And I congratulate you. I congratulate you on taking the time out to make yourself better. That's what you're doing on this path of whatever you're doing, whatever your gift is. What I'm called to do, one area of my gifting is to be able to speak to people and to speak to their gift, to speak to their gift so that your gift will get excited and begin to do what your gift is called to do, so that you can become better, so that you can equip yourself with more tools and more information to do the thing that you're called to do. I want to deal with leaders a little bit this week, and we're all leaders. You may not think you're a leader, but you are leading. And I'll say this: if you think you're leading and nobody's following you, you're just out taking a walk. Why are you saying that, Carlos? I'm saying that you need to equip yourself to become a leader, and you need to make sure that, I'm going to say it like this: fellowship is a word that I made up, right? It's often the thing that comes before leadership. When you learn how to follow somebody, you can learn how to become a leader as well. So when you learn and equip yourself to become a better leader, you will start to see other people following you. And at the same time, sometimes we think, I'm not a leader, Carlos. We think I'm not, but somebody's watching you. Somebody's watching you, whether it be a peer, whether it be somebody who's working in your company, whether you have a company that you're leading, whether it be a family member or a friend, whether it be somebody who's watching your content and they never like, they never comment, never share, but they watching all your information. I actually had a person who came to me and found me, and we called up and we talked on the phone. This was some years ago. And he was like, listen, man, I love what you've been doing. I've been watching you for years, with an S. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm listening to him. I've never heard of him. I didn't know his name before that conversation. I've never seen him like, comment, anything, but he had been watching my content for years. You're leading somebody, and you may not know that you're leading somebody. Here is what I want to pass on to you, leaders. Leaders can get people to do things that they never imagined to do. Managers try to get people to do things that they don't want to do. I'll say it again. I'm gonna say it a little bit in the reverse. Managers try to get people to do things that they don't want to do. So a manager tries to get somebody to do something that that person doesn't necessarily want to do. That's usually what a manager is, just trying to get people to do things they don't want to do. Leaders can get people to do things that they never imagined that they could do. What I mean is, a leader can get somebody who's following them or somebody who they've been blessed to be able to lead. They can get something out of them that they never knew they had within themselves to be able to do. Now, this person that they're leading, a lot of times that person that's being led is equipped to do things, oh, this is really good, that the leader can't even do. The leader doesn't even have the quality to do. What does that look like? I'm a playwright. So that's one of the things I do. I get a chance to write. I have 7 original productions that I've written, right? So while I'm writing these plays, I'm writing this stuff. It's original musical play, 5-piece band at times, 3 background singers, original music, plays usually about 2 hours long. Somebody was asking me about this the other day, when you gonna get back into this? And I need to. Reason why I bring that up is, as a director and a writer, you're writing lines for characters, and these people who play the characters can play a character that I could never play. They could take this information off this paper and make it into something that I could never do myself. I'm leading them and I'm giving them information. Watch this though. I'm writing something for them that they could not write themselves. They couldn't write the material. They couldn't come up with the production. They couldn't come up with the play. That wasn't their gift. Please hear what I'm saying for my example that can relate to what you're doing and what you're leading. By me doing my part, it gave them ability to do their part They couldn't do my part and I couldn't do theirs. But as a leader, I could get them to do things they never imagined that they could do. Write songs and they would sing, play lines and act on the stage, to do things and take this to a level that they may have never seen themselves doing it before. But that was my ability to lead. Now, both people need each other. Both people need each other. So neither person, the person who's being led or the leader, should get so high up on their horse to feel like it's all because of me. Men just try to get people to do things that they don't want to do. Leaders can get people to do things that they never imagined they could do. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak is a great example of this. So Steve Jobs, Apple, iPad, he's no longer with us, no longer living, but he was such a leader. When you say Apple, Steve Jobs is probably one of the first names that comes to your mind. And he's not been with us for some time. I believe 7 years. I mean, probably even longer than that. But Steve Jobs would come up with ideas that Steve Wozniak would carry out. Steve Wozniak could carry out these ideas on the engineering side and do things that Steve Jobs could never do. But Steve Jobs came up with ideas for the iPad, the iPhone, the computer, the Mac computer, all these different things. Steve Wozniak could not come up with these ideas. Do you catch what I'm saying? The leader came up with ideas that he couldn't carry out. The person who was being led carried out ideas that he couldn't come up with. I want you to watch this quick clip here. This is from a scene from the movie about Steve Jobs, and this clip portrays what I'm talking about beautifully. One of my favorite clips when it comes to an entrepreneurial learning or a leadership learning. Take a look at this clip real quick. So if you paid attention to what was said, this is if you've ever seen Apple, if you're familiar with it, if you've ever seen Steve Jobs or even who are the owner of Apple right now, usually they'll come out for a big announcement. When they come out for a big announcement, they're announcing this next product, right? They're announcing and talking about this next thing that they're coming out with, or the next version of something that they already had. So if you listened in and heard that, this was right before that took place. So they were having this conversation kind of backstage before announcing the next big thing. Steve Wozniak said to Steve Jobs, listen, people say that you're a genius. Like, you didn't come up with this idea, or you didn't build this, you didn't put this together. You don't even know how this works. Why do I read every day or hear that every day that Steve Jobs is a genius? What do you do? His answer was one of the coldest lines, if you caught it from that scene. He said, I play the orchestra. He said, you're the best in your section. You sit right over there. He didn't say this, but I'm a paraphrase like he said. He said, you sit right over there and you play everything I tell you to play. If you've ever seen an orchestra, it's usually full of the most talented musicians. But I've never seen an orchestra without a conductor. The conductor is there to play the orchestra. The conductor is there to lead the orchestra. Here's a Carlos V. Spencer speak saying, leaders give talented people something to do. Leaders give talented people something to do. When you're leading, you're giving people who have this great talent, but they need you to give them something to do with this talent that they have. Leaders, you are needed. You are needed because there are some people who are called to do things, who are called to greatness. And if they don't have somebody who's leading them, they may never get to the level of greatness that they're supposed to get to because they don't have somebody who's leading them to that level. Scripture passage says this, write the vision and make it plain so them that read it, they can read it and run with it. Once you write the vision, when you put it out there, when you lead, somebody else will come and see what you're leading and what you're doing, what you're putting together, the vision that you're establishing, and they'll take that vision and their gift will cause them to run with that vision. Some people are waiting for you to produce what you're supposed to produce so that they can take it and run with it and do what they are supposed to do. Let me end with this as a leader. Let me give you this tip, something that I learned. Usually, and I won't say this happens all the time, but it does happen a lot. When you give somebody else to do something and you're leading them, A lot of times it will start like this. They may not be able to do the thing to the level that you're able to do it. So a lot of times we won't relinquish it and we won't give it to them. The saying goes like this. When you give something to somebody, if they can do it 80% to the way that you can do it, to the value, to the level, if they can do it 80%, not 100%, so they can't do it like you, and you feel like, oh, I got to take this back. If they can do it to about 80% of the level that you can do it, then let them do it. Because what you do when you let them do it, this is good. Oh, this is good teaching here. If you let them do it at 80%, sooner or later, they'll get to 100%. Watch this. Sooner or later, listen to this. Sooner or later, they'll get to a level higher than 100%. And what I mean by that is they'll get to a level that's higher than the level that you were ever able to do it. But you have to give them the ability, and you have to be the leader who can relinquish something and let it go for somebody to be able to grow in it. Now it's grown to a level that you would never be able to do on your own. If your company, the thing that you're leading, is not bigger than you, then you need to challenge yourself to keep letting that thing grow. And if it's not bigger than you, it's because you're hoarding it or you're keeping it from becoming bigger than you. You got to let it go, release it, let your hands off of it, give it to people who can do something 80% to the level that you can do it. And one day they'll be able to get to 100%. And another day they'll be able to get to a level higher than that. They'll take it and they'll run with it. Managers try to get people to do things that they don't want to do. Leaders can get people to do things that they never imagined they can do. Both levels need each other. If you're a leader, there's somebody out there who's waiting on your gift to be able to lead them. And if you're a person who has a gift, there's somebody out there who's waiting for you to help them with the ideas that they have. My name is Carlos B. Spencer. We appreciate you tuning in for another week. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's get it.
Let's go. Let's grow.